Monthly stimulus checks, $1,000 recurring is the ticket for the low income. I have all the details and some new information that just hit the wire right here in the video, so let's get into it and discuss what's going on. Alright, some new information just hit the wire on monthly checks, and the information went on to show $1,000 per month ongoing would get us out of the current situation that we're in, and the details also showed some surprising information and statistics that I want to share with you right here in this video because it better illustrates the power behind ongoing monthly checks and why this is actually pretty exciting. So let's get right into it and discuss all the details. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so, and because I am your one and only daily advocate, I'm here for you right by your side each and every day, watching all this new information hitting the wire, doing all the necessary research, and breaking it down into these short videos so you can stay updated with what is actually going on right now. And most importantly, how it's going to impact you, your money, your benefits, your lifestyle, your bank account. And of course, I also want to point out anything out there right now you can possibly grab and or take advantage of, including money, benefits, raises to benefits, checks, programs, stimulus, or anything else that may be coming up, as there's a lot going on right now. Things are changing rapidly. We're getting new announcements literally every single day, and a lot of new bills, pieces of legislation, and a lot of different announcements out of lawmakers as well. Therefore, we got to watch all this stuff very closely. That's exactly why I'm here for you. So again, if you haven't done so, please subscribe down below. Totally free to do so, and I'll be here for you every single day, as that's my dedication, that's my commitment, and as always, I'm sticking to it. All right, let's get into it and talk about ongoing monthly checks, $1,000 every single month, and what these new reports are now showing right now. And honestly, it's looking pretty good because these are actually some pretty exciting reports. It shows all the statistics, and that's what I want to share with you here in the video, because over the last few years here, it's been a big experiment. Whether we actually think it has been or not, it actually has been, and that's what I want to break down for you. All right, so since early 2020, obviously, we know that we've received so far 3 stimulus checks, right? We also know that there are multiple different states out there right now that are sending out stimulus checks, and we've also seen tons and tons of these guaranteed basic income programs popping up all around the country pretty much since late 2019, and a lot more of them have been showing up since 2020. This whole situation that has come out, right? Well, basically what it comes down to, and this new information that I want to share with you here in the video, is illustrating that these past couple of years here have basically been a big guaranteed basic income experiment. Now, let me explain what this all means and why they're actually talking about this being a big experiment. Now, here's what it comes down to. Guaranteed basic income is basically sending out ongoing checks or a one-time check to a group of people and basically sending it out with no strings attached. That's exactly what the stimulus checks were, right? The $1,200 that we got first, the $600 and the $1,400, and then of course also on the state-by-state level, and then of course all the guaranteed basic income programs that are currently going on all around the country right now. These are no strings attached payments. In other words, you get a check and you can do whatever you want with it. You can save it, you can spend it, you can give it away, you can donate it, you can buy a bunch of stuff, you can do whatever you want with it. It does not matter one bit, right? So that's what's really cool about all these programs. However, that's what I want to talk about here, because here's what's going on. So as of right now, we've been hearing a lot of different information popping up saying, guaranteed basic income on a nationwide level, guaranteed basic income in, different states, cities, localities, counties, things like this all across the country. But here's what it comes down to. So this information that I'm actually referring to in this article is actually suggesting that we've had a guaranteed basic income program in place since 1935. However, it's highly focused on seniors, older adults, and of course, people with disabilities, and they're calling it Social Security. Now, here's the thing. Is that a bad thing? Not at all. Here's the thing. This program that's been in place, yes, it's kind of like a guaranteed basic income program, but not really, because here's the thing. When it comes down to Social Security, let me ask you this much. All the taxes that you paid in through Social Security payroll taxes through all the years that you've been working, is that kind of like a no strings attached? Well, no. Obviously, you paid in thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars through payroll taxes to Social Security over many, many years. And once you start claiming on Social Security benefits, that's just you claiming the benefits that you've essentially earned over your working career, and of course, all that money that you've paid in. So it's not really the same thing, but at the end of the day, it's kind of somewhat similar, right? The Guaranteed Basic Income Program, Social Security, retirement, SSDI, survivors, VA, and SSI benefits, basically sending out ongoing monthly checks. And again, pretty much you can do whatever you want with them, right? You can spend it, you can save it, you can do whatever you want with it. Doesn't matter at all, right? So it kind of has the same mentality, even though it's not exactly the same thing, because stimulus checks and Social Security are very, very different. Did we do anything to get the stimulus checks? Well, we maybe had to do a few things. Obviously, we had to be present to win. There's a whole different parameters around that, but for the most part, it didn't really matter. Somebody that maybe had no income and was maybe not working got a stimulus check. Somebody that's been working full time got a stimulus check. Fixed income beneficiaries got stimulus checks. So again, you can clearly see here they're not exactly the same thing, but they kind of have the same kind of realm of what's actually going on with them, right? Kind of has the same feeling, even though they are still a little bit different. However, the information goes on to show. Check this out. This is some surprising information. 1960 to 1995, a 35-year span. Check this out. Poverty among seniors, the older adults, basically anybody aged 65 and older, between that time span, from 1960, the poverty in those individuals aged 65 or older was at 35%. That's very, very high, right? 35% of those people aged 65 and older in 1960 were in poverty. That's really, really sad, okay? However, during that 35-year period of time, the poverty rate for those individuals aged 65 or older went from 35% down to 10% in 35 years. That's a huge improvement. And as of right now, about 10.2 million people, 10.2% of those individuals who are 65 or older are in poverty. Now, don't get me wrong. This number is way, way too high. This number should be at 0 or, you know what I mean? It should not be at any percentage in poverty, right? Especially with what the president has said for a very long time now, which is no older adults or people with disabilities should ever need to live in poverty in America. And again, I like to say that all the time simply because the president said that a couple of years ago, and I'd like to bring it to your attention because this is still a major problem right now because we continue to see a lot of seniors, older adults, and of course, people with disabilities, and those individuals living on a fixed income living well below the federal poverty line. However, the point is, the information goes on to show that an ongoing $1,000 check would literally get all of these low-income individuals out of the current situation that we're in, and this would be the solution for the low income to turn things around and to lift all of these people out of poverty. Now, here's the thing. They can easily get this done through ongoing monthly checks. Now, there's a lot of concern out there that, if you implement ongoing monthly checks, this would just exacerbate the inflation situation. Well, it totally depends. It just like everything, right? Literally, we could look at any situation out in the world right now, and the answer to almost anything is always, it depends. It depends how you look at it. It depends all the parameters. Well, the same thing goes with ongoing checks of $1,000. Let's just say this much. If $1,000 went out to every single citizen in the United States, or 85% of the citizens, just like the last stimulus check did, would that cause inflation? Yep, it sure would. Yeah, it would cause some extra inflation. However, sending out $1,000 every single month to maybe, 20 million, 30 million, maybe 40 million people who are living in poverty right now or well below the federal poverty line, the low income, the seniors, the older adults, the people with disabilities, would that cause inflation? Again, we'd have to run all the numbers on it, but realistically, it may cause a teeny tiny fraction of inflation. A couple tenths of a percent, maybe, and I think that'd even be generous to say maybe on a couple tenths of a percent. For the most part, it wouldn't, simply because it's not enough money going to enough people. It's a decent amount of money. $1,000 a month would be a decent amount of money. However, it would not be going to a big enough percentage of the population. It'd only be going to 10, 12, maybe 14% of the population. That's a huge far cry from the 85% of the population that got checks with the last stimulus check, right? And that caused some inflation. However, the stimulus checks that we got over the last couple of years here did not cause all the inflation that we're dealing with right now. There's no possible way. Those stimulus checks only cost about $850 billion, considering the Federal Reserve during that same period of time, they printed $6 trillion. So the $850 billion of stimulus checks accounted for a small fraction of the $6 trillion that was printed. So to say that all these stimulus checks caused the inflation didn't happen. There's no way. There's no way that $850 billion is the cause of all the inflation when $6 trillion new dollars were printed in about a year and a half's time. There's no way. There's no possible way that that's true, okay? But anyway, when it comes down to it, this is actually pretty exciting because there are people out there that actually do advocate for ongoing monthly checks. In fact, there are some people in Congress right now that do advocate for ongoing monthly checks at a nationwide level for millions and millions of Americans, especially the low income and, again, fixed income beneficiaries. So, long story short, let me break this down for you really fast. The statistics in this report are clearly showing that ongoing monthly checks, universal basic income, guaranteed basic income, monthly stimulus checks, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't really matter. It's all essentially the same thing. Ongoing monthly checks are very powerful, and we can clearly see from the reports here that during that 35-year span, like I said, 1960 to 1995, the poverty rate for seniors 65 or older went from 35% down to 10% in that time period, right? And again, these individuals receiving Social Security, a major change, a major contributor to the monthly income. And we can clearly see that Social Security is a major influencing factor between seniors, older adults, and people with disabilities, and of course, their monthly income. In fact, I've talked about this in previous reports as well. There's been a lot of reports that have come out showing that Social Security is the sole purpose for keeping a lot of seniors out of poverty in the first place. In fact, Social Security, I know a lot of times benefits are not high enough for a lot of beneficiaries, but at the same time, if there was no such thing as Social Security, let's just say it disappeared, could you imagine the tens of millions of seniors, older adults, and people with disabilities that would immediately fall into poverty? A lot. Like, I don't even know the number on that. It would be in the millions, tens of millions of these people would be falling into poverty immediately. That's what I'm saying. Social Security is a major contributing factor, keeping millions of seniors, older adults, and people with disabilities out of poverty. Very important program. So anyway, I wanted to bring this to your attention because I thought it was very well done. This is a great report and that came out showing the power behind stimulus checks, ongoing checks, guaranteed basic income, and even $1,000 going out every single month. And again, we even saw this out of previous presidential candidate Andrew Yang, who is a huge proponent of universal basic income, $1,000 per month. We've talked about that a couple times over the last few years here. Again, pretty exciting stuff here, but again, we got to watch all this stuff very closely because there's been a lot of talk about this, and with all the automation coming into our economy, a lot of jobs being replaced right now, we're seeing a lot of calls from big people out there who are suggesting it's inevitable that we will be getting guaranteed basic income at some point in this country. So anyway, just want to point it out for you. These are things that we got to continue watching because you never know what's going to happen, and you just never know what's going to happen going forward because things are changing rapidly, and we're getting new information literally every single day. New announcements, new reports, new bills, packages, proposals, amendments, legislation, all kinds of different things, which is exactly why I'm watching all of it for you. I'm bringing it to you in these short videos and breaking it down to help you out in any way that I possibly can. So again, thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands and thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, please have a nice day, enjoy, and I'll catch you again later.